Hello, friends. It seems that StreamYard has added all of these new options and have me defaulted to them. So it's little me. Hi. Hey, I'm right over here. Hello. I don't know why. The intro was sort of inlaid, and now I'm a little person over here. So StreamYard's just sort of messing around with me. So I am going to see if I can put myself into a full screen. Because I shouldn't be a little baby, JJ Colborn. I need to fill the screen. Here we go. We have 5 people tuned in. If you are somebody who wears fragrance for the attraction of others, to get compliments from other people, if that is your main objective, then this episode might not be for you. This is an episode for those who truly and thoroughly love perfume and may sometimes, just sometimes, wear it for themselves and not for an audience. Be that as it may, these fragrances can be enjoyed by an audience, but the audience must be a bit more intimate. So my guest is Sebastian Furtado. He has returned, and I am elated to have a one-on-one conversation with him because those panel discussions are old hat, they're passé. I'm all about doing a one-on-one, rich and in-depth conversation with my guests here, as I've been doing for this 3rd season. So he is going to be joining me in just a few, because we're going to talk about nuanced fragrances. Fragrances that are not loud, not bossy, not beast mode. These are fragrances that have an intimacy and a quiet beauty to them that should not be overlooked by the discerning fragrance connoisseur. So he and I are going to have a fantastic discussion on fragrances that fall into this particular category. And I would love to hear some of the choices that you all who are tuned in or who are watching the playback have as options for quiet, nuanced, or subtle fragrances. We're going to take a look at the chat, and then shortly I'm going to bring Sebastian in. Pat Lester, always coming correct with the greeting. Hello to you. Tam 10, hello to you as well, and welcome. We currently have 11 people tuned in. So far, we have 9 people who have checked in the chat. So how about we hear from the other folks? 9 other people who haven't spoken up. We have 2 people who have spoken up, rather. And we have now 3. Mr. Bass Raz. I'm assuming that is Bass Raz and not Bass Raz. I'm going to go with a safe assumption that it is Bass Raz. Sebastian is a gem. Great choice for this discussion. That is why I made the recommendation, because I had a feeling if there's anybody out of all of my friends who are fragrance enthusiasts, he would appreciate this particular topic. Silver Moon, anti-beast mode. Indeed. And Sebastian says, hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here. We now have 13 people tune in. Let's not delay this any further. Let's bring in Sebastian and we'll have this conversation starting right now. Hello.
Hello.
Great to have you back.
Well, thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure.
And it's one-on-one, so we don't have to compete with other panelists, just you and I talking about what we love. So this is great.
Love it. I love it.
But you had a great appearance back in, it must have been almost 2 years now. 2023, I think you were on
Yes.
Effluvium, and we had, I think, at least one or two other panelists for that. And for this season, this has been for me one probably the best season. I like this format. It feels more like a podcast, and it's great. So
Yeah, it's been I haven't done any live on my channel yet, and like I said, I would mention to you before, whenever I do decide to go on one and do one, like I would love to have you as my first.
it would be an
Yes.
honor and a pleasure. I would love that. We have BJR here, and she is a fan of both of us, for which we are both humble. Well, I can't speak for you, but I know I am humbled. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
That's very kind of you. Thank you for supporting both of us. It means a great deal. And we have 13 people who are tuned in right now. So I am going to ask you a few questions regarding the topic that we have chosen. What do you think is the benchmark for a fragrance that is subtle or quiet or nuanced? What do you think what does it take for a fragrance to be in that category? What would you say? I want to hear what you have to
Low
say.
diffusion.
Yes.
Low diffusion, and I would say close to skin, like skin scent, kind of.
Mm,
Nothing, but in the yeah, and which is not the current trend of the industry, because today look they wanted to diffuse for 12 hours with one spray kind of idea, and in sense like this, like the I had to bring a gallon, so I brought to.
I have one of my own at my side.
So sense like this, and there is something I believe I mentioned something about the dapper on one of my last videos. How
Mm,
oh, it was about Voduni, I think. How I really appreciate the doing the dabbing,
mm, mm,
because it makes it even closer to
mm,
you.
mm,
So it's much more for yourself than anybody else
mm.
who's around you. So yeah,
That does speak to perfume as what I sometimes call, maybe it's a bit exaggerated, but as a sacrament, as a ritual. And sometimes the best fragrances in that moment of ritual are these types of fragrances. And a dabbing is sort of like an anointing of
yes,
something really precious. And I'm glad that you bring that up. And I think that these are suitable fragrances for that because you really get up close and personal with these fragrances. So,
absolutely.
um, I want to invite you to share. I don't know if you want to continue to elaborate on the one that you were just chatting about, or to share any of the others that you have set aside to just get us started with this conversation as far as
I
the.
actually didn't wear. I haven't worn anything today because I wanted to wait for this moment. I said I'm not going to contaminate myself
What
today
anticipation?
with anything. So I picked up a few. I didn't really want to go Guerlain, but I had to
Yes.
because it's it's Guerlain. Most of the perfumes are like that. Most of the perfumes are scent like a skin scent. They don't intend. I believe they don't have the intention for the vast majority of them to be loud and bombastic,
Mm.
especially because there's a documentary from many years ago when Guerlain was going through the transition from it had already been sold to LVMH. I believe
Mm.
most perfume heads have watched the documentary on YouTube. And the narrator in the beginning says that French perfumes they're not loud. They whisper.
Mm.
And that's to me is the essence of the French perfumery as you know as a whole. It's very gentle. It's very like a caress and like whispers.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think Guerlain is kind of like epitome in terms of classic
Right.
style to to go in this to represent this idea. So I just had to get to so got Chalimar and Vaudemy, but I also got because I believe Hermes also represents that very well.
Mm.
They because it's part of the image of the brand.
Right.
They're not loud, on the contrary. So I got Calèche, Soie de Parfum, Iris. Um,
Mm.
oh, I actually went heavy on Hermes. Jour d'Hermes, Absolu.
Bijou de Metz. Mm.
I
My
haven't
God.
worn this in a while because I have the parfum too, the little bottle, and this is beautiful. And also 24 Faubourg,
Mm-hmm.
and I got Bois de Violette from Sardutas and the Black Jade from Le Bon. So these are my selections. These are my options.
Why don't we start with this one?
Oh, look at that! You got the vintage, and I got the current
The current one
version.
is beautiful too. Do you know what I think is beautiful about this? And a lot of people don't discuss this aspect, but there is this gossamer woodiness to it. There is a cedariness
Mm-hmm.
that is the backbone of this that people don't talk about it very much, but I find it to be the sort of the like I said, like the backbone. It really it holds it all together. Otherwise, it would be so diaphanous. It would
I
just float away.
totally
But
agree.
it's just so beautiful.
And it's really a perfect choice for this because any other wood, even sandalwood, it would give a total different aspect to this
Right.
fragrance. Because I think the cedar has that aspect that gives the backbone, but it also gives the freedom for all the other notes to participate and shine. Because
True. And that's what's great about cedar. It is like a few other like a handful of other materials. It's sort of the great blender. It gets along. Cedar gets along very well with almost everything.
yes,
But there's
I
something
agree.
about what it does to Iris that keeps it a little grounded and keeps it a little bit more accessible in a way.
Mhm.
And for lack of a better description, but it makes for a great contrast, I think,
Yes,
because the
I totally
feels are
agree.
very different. Yeah. And yeah, it is it isn't as cold as some other irises. At least I don't think so. I don't
Yeah,
think that
no,
it's cold at all. I think that it
no,
is
I don't think it's cold either.
maybe cool, but not cold. Cold to me would be more Iris Silver Mist. We have Mr.
Yes.
Bass or Bass Raz. Love Iris Silver Mist. And Iris Silver Mist to me it isn't as quiet either. I think that is much more of a profound, like needy iris. Like it is like 50 shades of iris. And Ili is sort of this thin current, this thin slice. And it's the very whisper that you were referring to.
Mhm. Yes, I totally agree with you about this not being a cold iris.
Yeah.
It is. It's definitely. I guess it's to me. I see it as cool, crisp. Um, iris. Yeah, definitely not cold because it has this. There's something very comforting at the same time too that I don't get from a whole lot of irises out there because iris traditionally has a tendency to be makeupy. So
It
it has
does.
that very powdery and dusty kind of thing. But
Especially when there's the iris and the violet and the rose coming together,
Mm-hmm.
you get that heavy makeup feel. And that is a bit more detached. And I do think that Oris in general tends to come off as aloof, especially depending upon its cohort. But here, I think that it's allowing you to approach it.
Yes,
Sense?
absolutely. And I actually think that the Iris Ukiyoe, also from Hermes, from the Hermes
Ah,
collection,
yeah.
to me, it's just speculations, but I believe it was Jean-Claude Delena's desire to to do something else with his eyes, or maybe to elevate it to a different level,
Mm,
because I get echoes of this Iris in Iris Ukiyoe as well.
mm-hmm.
Also, another gorgeous perfume. I love it. But that one, I think it has more of like vegetable-ish, but it's even lighter. It's even airier
Mm.
than this. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was tempted to get it too.
I have one of those smaller bottles, the 15 mil
Yes.
bottle of it. Um, and I think you're right with that. There is the rooty and the vegetal. I'm going to throw an SAT word out here, racemic, having to do with a raceme because it is pretty much that, much like a carrot
Mm-hmm.
or turmeric, those racemic parts of a plant. And I do pick that up more in Ili or Iris Iyoko. I always forget how to say it correctly.
Yeah, it's a very it's
Iyoko.
ukiyo-e ukiyo-e.
Ikyoye, Ikyoye,
Yeah.
yes. And Silver Moon says, seems more like a cologne to me. Well, it is appropriate for this discussion because not only is it quiet, but it's also it is ephemeral. And ephemeral can roll into this conversation too.
100%.
Because
Yes.
yeah. Um Regis Moncton says, is Elie de Champ similar to Elie?
I
Um,
don't think so. I think it's more floral, a lot more floral.
a lot more floral.
Yeah.
I love that one because that is where Oris is actually elevating the other green, white, crisp florals. To me, that's sort of a big interaction between Iris and Lily of the Valley or Muguet.
Mm.
Um, and that one isn't very quiet either. That's a very
No.
present.
Yes.
Um, that does have some presence to it that exceeds arm's length, especially in the first couple of hours. I'm going to take a quick look here and make sure I've gotten to everyone in the chat. We have our resident moderator. Note the wrench next to his username. We are sentient. Rockin' Odemez today. You wrote a lovely caption in your Instagram today. We know how much I love Odemez. Odemez could almost be part of this conversation as well.
Yes.
Um, and Silver Moon says Iri is watercolor and Iris Silver Mist is acrylics. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Iris of a Mist, actually. Believe it or not,
Really? Really?
I've been to Sergiotown so many times, and for some reason, I haven't smelled that perfume.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes it isn't in production. They run out of production and then they produce more. Everybody panics when they run out. They think it's discontinued and then voila, it is back again. I don't think they'll ever discontinue it completely unless there are restrictions that are so heavy they can no longer reproduce it. Antonio Hobson, lovely to have you here. Scent of the Day, Coven by Andrea Mack. And we have the Fragrantician. Lovely to have you here.
Oh,
Hello,
indeed.
darlings. Iris, Violet, and Rose are a perfect trifecta classic perfumery. Yeah, I do actually enjoy that
Yes.
combination, especially with some of those early to mid-century fragrances where they were often in that trifecta. Justin C. Hi, all. Scent of the day, Perfumum Roma Olibinum. Very nice. And in Silver Moon's opinion, Italy de Jean is more buttery and
Yeah.
warmer than Italy to me, and I am inclined to agree. We Are Sentient says an older bag I use smell like Iris ukiyo-e because a sample broke in the front pocket. I wasn't
Oh,
mad.
I wouldn't be
No,
either.
no. It was a sample after all. If it was a full bottle, I'd probably be a little upset that it would lay to waste in a bag. But a sample, sure. Have that fragrance your bag, sure. That's lovely. And then Mr. Baseraz says Histoire de Parfum, 1828, Jules Verne. Fragrantition, Era Papillon Perfumery is the scent of the night. Dahlia, hello, welcome back. Iri is better anyways. I like them all. It's hard to. It's like they're all like children to me. I have thousands of children at this point. That's a big problem of mine. But each one for a different season or reason or mood. I like Coven. Wore that yesterday. The vintage version though. I haven't tried the modern and wearing M7. Oh, the Yves Saint Laurent M7. And then greetings Eau de Z from N'était pas famille Gantier. That is from JD. Thank you. Very lively audience we have here.
Indeed.
You're going to end up on the Maury show. I'm going to end up on some show if I keep this up. I'm slowing down though. I'm slowing down with the collecting. It's like
Yeah,
it's getting to be
yeah.
more. It's getting to be too stressful. It's like it's because you want more time to appreciate the ones that you love the most. So it's like I just don't want to be on this constant treadmill. It gets
I'm tired.
yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, the last couple of years actually, I have only been focused on perfumes that I really own and I love, and I say, okay, I'm going to get backups of these because I know I will always have them. So I got a really good backup of Eau de Nuit, got backups of Shalimar, got backups of really the perfumes that I know I will have forever with me. And I haven't really been focused on new launches. I like, with exception of Cartier and Hermes.
The Cartier. How is that?
They just launched two. Well, they launched one new perfume, Déclaration, the Eau de Parfum, but
Yeah.
that was the last year. It was late last year. I think it was around October, November.
Mm-hmm.
So they launched that one. It's really, really beautiful. I got a bottle and it has it amped up the notes that I love. So there's a lot of cardamom, a lot of cinnamon, a lot of ginger in the opening, and but you can still smell the classic Déclaration in there.
Mm-hmm.
And but the opening is this huge blast of this trio of spices, and then um, it dries down to the classic Déclaration, but you still get those three notes in evidence throughout the life of that scent on the skin. And the other one was Essence. So that they used to have that
Mm-hmm.
multiple years ago, but then I believe they discontinued, and then they brought it back now. And they did
Mm-hmm.
some changes with the design of the bottle in terms of it's now refillable. So it's actually really nice
Mm.
the way they did it.
Very nice. Very nice. Part of my necessary purging, I had made the difficult decision of just sticking with the classic original. I had the parfum, I had the rose one, the yes, and they're nice. It's just I have to pare down, and it's so hard to improve upon the original, but they were very nice, very nice. Um, Nathaniel, hello. Wearing Eau Sauvage today. Very good choice. Fragrantition. It is progression for me in life now. Perfection is a myth.
Oh, it doesn't exist. Definitely,
Yes.
perfection is.
No. No.
I don't even think that perfection is. And the thing is, like, that's something that I always had with me. I never really thought of perfecting or trying to be perfect in any way, because I guess deep down I always knew since I've known myself as a human that really it isn't a thing. It isn't.
No, trying to chase perfection is the self-fulfilling prophecy of imperfection. Once you let go of the need or the desire for control, which is a big part of perfection, that's really what makes you feel a lot more free and comfortable to embrace the flaws and the imperfections in life, because we're
Yes.
animals, we're emotional, complex animals. So when we let go of that quest for perfection, we start to see details that we were missing out on because we were too concerned with keeping things perfect. So I think that that is a very good quote right there. It is a progression for me in life now. Perfection is a myth. Um,
Indeed.
do either of you like any from Cartier Oud collection? I might have to pass that over to Sebastian because I am not a very big Oud fan. That is one of the things that people know about me, is I'm really picky
the
about
the
that.
the perfumes that got me into oud more
Mhm.
as a detectable note, it was this collection from Cartier. I have
Mhm.
all of them. I love that collection. Overall, the three, because they have the private collection, but there are three um, different collections within the private collection. So there's the Oud collections with Les Heures Vergeuses, and then there's the Les Heures du Parfum, which is the from 1 all the way to 13, and then there is the Les Heures Pures du Parfum, which is more focused on soil florals. I
Mhm.
only don't have two. I only don't have
Do
the
you have
number.
Les Heures Perdus?
Le Perdu is
Perdu,
the
yeah.
number 11.
And I
Yes.
have the Fujus. I think that's how you
That's
pronounce
number
it.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
No,
to stop somewhere. I was like, I have to. That's enough. There were so many that they were so many that were so good.
they are. Like,
Uh,
to me, that collection, it's way more niche than the vast majority of the niche perfumes that have been released in the last few
right?
years. It's,
Mathilde Laurent actually composed fragrances for the mainstream Cartier line
mhm,
that are more niche than a lot of niche
absolutely.
now, like L'Envol
Absolutely.
and Roadster. I mean, they may have not have been that commercially successful, but golly gee, like they are so good. They're
Yes.
the like she's just one of the greatest modern perfumers
I,
right
I
now.
absolutely agree with
Yeah.
you. And that collection was the ouds from that line. They are the ones that really got me into enjoying more oud. Because before I had a couple oud perfumes, but you couldn't really detect oud.
Yeah.
So it was just, I remember one of my first oud perfumes was Oud Vendôme from Ex Nihilo, and there's no oud in it. Like you don't really smell oud. It's
That's my
just this
favorite
beautiful.
kind.
Yes. But then I smelled the Cartier. But the thing with this Cartier line was that when I first smelled them, I didn't really care for any of them, and that was in 2017, I believe, March or something like that. I, yeah, I went to the boutique and I smelled them, and I didn't really care for any of them. I thought they were
Yeah.
all very weird.
Yeah.
So the idea of niche, so they were very niche, and I didn't really like any of them.
Yeah.
But then that only changed years later when I had access to samples. I started getting receiving samples um, from that collection and being able to wear them. That's when I started to, oh, okay, like these are these are good. And then there are only two that I don't have because I don't really have a connection with them, which is the number 10, um, L'Or Folle, and because it has a blueberry thing, it's not really. I have one perfume that's focused on blueberry, but it's different because it's yeah.
Is
But
it
that
Le
one
Nuit?
that didn't really work for me.
Is it the one that you have Le Nuit Magnétique? Um, Different company, Le Nuit Magnétique.
No, the one I have that's focused on blueberry is a L'Or de Proust from
Hmm?
Le Bon Gourmand.
Yeah, I have not found a fragrance with a blueberry accord that
It's
is
really
an.
nice.
It,
I should send you some because it's really really
I
lovely.
would love to try it because I've
Yeah,
always wanted to find a fragrance with a blueberry accord that would satisfy my yen for blueberry in a fragrance, and I haven't found one yet. I know that you're long gone now, but we are sentient. Thanks for tuning in for as long as you could. I know it's very late where you are. Just be sure to watch the playback. I know you will. I can count on you for that.
thanks
Um,
for joining.
there are many perfect perfumes, perfect in their own right, for sure.
Yeah.
No human is perfect, but we have the freedom to decree that a fragrance is perfect if
Yes.
it is,
Yes.
um, if we see it as such. Yes, Ellie is a perfect
Yes. You know, like
perfume.
yeah. In terms of beings, I don't think there's perfection, but and even then, because there are people that will probably say that Arisa is just horrendous and the worst
Right,
perfume
right.
ever created. So,
In fact, they'll say,
so
"Oh,
that's the
it's not strong enough."
yeah,
It'll circle back to that where people will complain, like, "Well,
yeah,
like this doesn't project, so it isn't perfect."
yeah.
But
Which
yeah,
is which seems to be a major complaint with the perfumes from Hermes overall. But and that goes into not a different topic. That
another whole different topic,
yeah.
and it just so happens that many of my favorites are from that particular house. So it's apparently not an issue to me. Pat
Not at
Lester's.
all.
Sometimes when I like a fragrance, I would buy 2 or 3 samples. If I want a bottle, I have to really, really, really like it, and I encourage that restraint.
Yes,
I've said this
me too.
before. I am a rare creature who wanted to curate his own museum, and I don't expect everybody to do that. Fragrantician, control feeds ego, live in the moment. I love Cartier, La Panthère, Parfum. The osmanthus is hypnotic. Such a modern chypre combined with oak moss. Paroli, hello. Lovely to have you join us. Silver Moon, you like that? I have many more where that came from. I have a lot of those old time expressions. Gee Willikers, Junkie Sen, I love you. I love that you're here, and thank you for helping with the pronunciation. Um, Uiko, Uiko
Okay, okay.
Ukio, Ukio Let me
It's
know
a, it's
if
a it's a sort of draw a painting in Japan. Yeah, I believe that's what it is, or is it some sort of poem? It's either or, either a sort of painting, like watercolor painting, or some sort of poetry. I'm not too sure actually right now.
and I missed your scent of the day earlier, Muguet Porcelain,
Mm.
which is my favorite of the MSRs. That is my favorite one.
Too bad it was discontinued.
Of course, all of my favorites can discontinue. What does that say about me? I don't know. And I honestly don't care. What I do care about is they're discontinued, though. That's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. The Christina Gel Venn diagram there. There's one from Christina Gel from that line that I really love, and it's
Cedric back is beautiful.
there you go. You finished my sentence. That's the one. I think that one's beautiful. I think she was hit or miss with some of them, but that one is really lovely. I love that one. Eau
The
de
oils
Gloire.
the oils that she created for the I think to my taste, all the perfumes that she has created for the Hermès line have been good.
Mm.
Have been very good. I don't have Cedric Sambac yet because that's the one that I've used a few samples of it, but I haven't. It hasn't clicked with me yet.
Mm. Mm.
And someone made a comment before about using multiple samples before deciding to buy a bottle, and I'm the same way.
I think if somebody is an active wearer who concentrates on fragrances in a more impassioned manner, which unfortunately I find very hard to do because I love too many. I think that that is a very smart thing to do because you really get acquainted enough and you develop a relationship with it, and then you want to commit, so you get more. Dahlia says it smells good because it doesn't project. That is a good thing to explore, a good
It
discussion,
is indeed. Yeah.
because I think that some things are just not meant to project. I think sometimes when there's a fragrance that features certain accords in it, the the attempt to make it as tenacious and as substantive as possible, something is lost from the beauty of certain accords.
Hmm.
They often get overridden by the fixatives because the fixatives are really driving the composition rather than anything within the composition that is aromatic. So I find that with a lot of the modern releases, including modern niche fragrances, where it will claim to be dedicated to something like myrrh or olibanum or name your flower, like even like a
Hmm.
rose or a jasmine. And all of that air, all that oxygen, all of that aura from those particular accords seems to be sucked away in favor of whatever it is that is trying to make it project and be strong and noticeable and last long. And yeah, I think you're
It's all
absolutely right.
smothered. Like
Smothered, yes.
it's like it's all killed.
Right, right, right.
And in that same documentary that I mentioned earlier, Jean-Claude Helena, because I also do some following around with Jean-Claude Helena, and at the time he was still working for Hermes, and he says that reality is too boring. I create perfumes that represent a dream or something in those lines.
Mm.
He said that he wants fragrances that will feel like a dream. And when I watched the documentary for the first time, I teared up in so many times because yes, that's what perfume is to me too. I don't want I don't want my perfume to be something so powerful and so pungent that it's so grounding and it's so like, hey, I'm here, and that kind of stuff. To me, I like perfumes like with beautiful nuances because it has that the dream quality. It has that. Um, yeah, it's just it's so special.
And dreams, most of the time they're quiet.
Hmm.
You wake up and you don't recall too much in the way of sound,
Just the
but
memory of it.
just the memory of it. There's other sensory things, but they're not. It's not like you're watching it in surround sound in a theater. A dream is very much a. It's like an apparition. It's a good metaphor for some of these
Yeah.
fragrances. One that I find particularly dreamy and also melancholy, and this is a good sort of segue into Guerlain, um, is Après Lundi.
Oh, I
So
almost got that one because it's so perfect for it. It's ah
people are always trailing after the vintage. Oh, the vintage must be
oh
so much. The vintage must be so much more substantial, and it never was meant to be. I will tell you, I have smelled the vintage version. It's vintage versions that are actually not turned are hard to come by as is because you have all those ionones. Ionones don't take very high ionone fragrances do not take very well to aging unless they have been really kept in good conditions. So forget about it unless you're going to shell out some serious dough. So this is going to be the one that I wear tonight. This is the one that I will wear. And this is sort of it is the epitome of quiet and nuanced and dreamy.
Yes.
And
Another perfect perfume.
this to me is perfect. And I don't I don't quibble about versions. I haven't smelled the newest
Oh,
version. I don't. Yeah. I'm sure you've smelled newer versions, and
I
it's
smelled. I have the privilege to smell the recreated version of the parfum, of the extrait of Après Landais
yeah,
at the Le Mature du Parfumeur
yes.
at the I think that well I've always gone to the Place Vendôme boutique in Paris, so
Mm,
they always have that suitcase there with a really large selection of perfumes that were recreated without not within without intention of trying them on skin, so you could only smell them on paper on a blotter. And the parfum, the extrait version of Après Landais is it's it's glorious. But it's very interesting because it's so much grander, but still in such a soft and gentle and whispery way and
mm,
dreamy
mm,
because it contains the eau de toilette in it.
yes.
So it's like you have the eau de toilette, but with a lot of other things around it, which elevates it quite a bit. I have a bottle of the X-ray too here, but it's not the recreated. It's mine kind of. I don't get a whole lot of differences like I do like I did with the one at the shop. But there's also the fact that the one at the shop, it's a new production,
Mm,
so there will be a lot more that we can detect because for it being such a light perfume, um, over time, you know, maybe some things can get lost. But my X3, I haven't really worn it yet. It's just it's there, it's just sitting.
I have been
Very
known to
special.
wear this and just listen to like a piece of music or a few pieces of music that I feel match it, and that is enough for me. I don't even care if it's a skin scent after that time. It's just that kind of scent that you sit with it and you take it in, you just drink it, and in a way you just lose sense of time. So who it doesn't matter that it may seem fleeting when you're thinking in terms of usual fragrance metrics. It's just too beautiful to even care about that.
Yes.
And it happens to have a number of my favorite fragrance notes. We know I love carnation, I love violet, I'm quite fond of mimosa and heliotrope. And then, of course, the aforementioned iris is in it as well. And to me, it reminds me of just dewdrops. And then you see the reflection of everything upon the dewdrop, including yourself. And you just get sort of lost in that. And that's when you lose time. It's like the olfactory equivalent of that. Um, and then I also have this sort of semi synesthesia sort of thing with certain fragrances, and there are certain instruments that I hear, and I hear cor anglais, and I hear a celesta. Like I hear particular instruments playing when I smell it.
For me, I tend to do association with colors.
Yeah,
Colors like a very, I mean, I don't have synesthesia, right? I believe you just mentioned it.
yeah.
I don't know if that's for colors too, but I know I don't have it. But every time I smell something, I tend to just go and have an association with colors.
Yes.
And for to me, a Paralonde, the color that they use on the label, it's a very light purple.
I'll
Um,
show it again for folks. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, to me that's perfect.
It
Even
is. It
even a
is.
little bit paler than that
Even
would be even more perfect.
I
But
think the version before this it was even paler. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back to the chat. We have a lot of folks who have left some comments here. We have 25 people tuned in. Just want to remind folks, if you haven't already done so, to like the stream. We're currently at 23. Let's try to aim for 30 likes before the top of the next hour. We're currently at 7:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for those who are tuning in live. So we have about 7 more likes to go, if you'd be so kind. Nick S. Asks, oh, you just say hi to us, but you can also ask questions if you'd like. Scent of the day is Frederick Malle Eau de Magnolia. Very nice. That fits
Beautiful.
into our theme. I have a Frederick Malle at
Yeah,
my
me too.
side that we can talk about. Bilbo, lovely to have you here as well. Bilbo Fraggins. Scott Burr. Scent of the night is going to be Cinnabar, trying to figure out how this works for me or not. Love Cinnabar. Cinnabar is like the diametrical opposite of this theme, though. It is rich and indulgent and quite expansive. Famous YouTuber, howdy babes and fellas, howdy back to you. Beauty of Scent, Aqua de Parma, Colonia Intensa.
So
Thank you
good.
for sharing that.
Yeah.
And Scent of the day, Eigner Silver. Pardon me, Duncan. I recently did a review of Super Fragrance for Men. And I actually had you in mind because you had introduced me to Eigner Silver. So I don't know if you have experienced Super Fragrance for Men, but I shared a review on that last week on Instagram. I also posted it to Base Notes and to Fragrantica. Mr. Base Raz, 6 months of Cedric Sambach testing, still haven't pulled the trigger. I admire that. I
It's the
admire
same. It's the same situation. Exactly the same situation.
Nick. Nick S says I adore Après Lundi, and actually the Le Légendaire version is fantastic.
I agree.
Silver Moon. I'm gonna wear Après Lundi tonight. Wonderful choice. Dahlia says it's fitting.
It is.
Mr. B says Après Lundi is a fantastic bedroom sleeping scent. Yes, a nightcap scent. I think maybe the nightcap video that I did, I included Après Lundi. I would hope I would. It's perfect for nighttime. Silver Moon, the parfum is, I bet the parfum is so great. I have not experienced the parfum. That sounds like it is quite a treat. And Bilbo saying hello to the other folks here. Scent of the day, Dune.
Mm.
Dune, the original Dune or the Dune Om. Um, Famous YouTuber. I've fallen asleep 3 times trying to watch Dune. Yes, it does take a certain sort of commitment to watch Dune. And we have Dahlia saying, didn't even try the new one, but I couldn't understand the old one. And then there was a Space X launch in the middle of it, so that was more interesting. I'm smelling Apelonde for the first time right now. The person who sent me it ended up being a weirdo, so I left it unsprayed until now. Now you can erase your memory of that weirdo. And
And
now you can
connect
think
with
of,
this moment.
yes, I mean, we're weird in our own ways, but we're not weirdo weird. We're just likable weird. But that's besides the point. So that's wonderful. I'm glad that you're actually able to appreciate it for the first time. En passant fits in well. Yes, en passant is sort of the experience of the same feel, but it's all about the beauty of lilac, which is so many memories of lilac since I was a child. So I have a strong affinity for lilac. Dune Homme, that's the one that Bilbo is wearing, right? I think Dahlia's right. Okay. So Guerlain, did you have another Guerlain that you wanted to share?
Vœu de nuit.
Of course, Vœu de Nuit.
And it's one of the perfumes that I will always have with me, and it's very interesting because when I first smelled this, I
Yes.
couldn't stand it. I was just like, oh god, this is horrible. But
It grows on you. It grew on me.
but I like this bottle. I really wanted to buy. I really wanted to have this bottle because the bottle itself is stunning.
Mm.
But then I was just like, I'm not one to buy something just because of the presentation.
Right.
So I managed to get some samples. Um, in funny enough, it was the extreme concentrations that hooked me into the classics, because I had tried the eau de toilette before, or eau de nuit, and I didn't really care much for it. I had tried the eau de parfum and eau de toilette of Shalimar, and it didn't really do it for me. It was the same for oh my god, Leur Bleu. Um, but then when I got samples, actually was the Guerlain boutique that used to exist in Toronto. They gifted me a few of those cube testers of these perfumes of Shalimar Parfum, Vol de Nuit Parfum, Leur Bleu Parfum, and that's when I started to like, oh, this is okay. This and that was when my I guess my taste started to change and I guess evolve into what it is now. And this perfume, it's were you just showing your bottle to? Did I miss that? Oh, is this 60 mil? Because yours looks bigger than mine. I can hear you. Oh, your mic's muted still.
It's typical for me. I just unmuted myself. Uh, I think if this is a 30 mil, this has to be a 30 mil.
You should say on the bottom.
Yeah,
It's
I
very
know.
tiny.
Yeah. Well, there is my, mid 40s vision that is making it difficult as well. I mean, just it's funny how I don't even recall. God, it's tiny. But I think this is a 30. This can't be more than 30 mil. This
Okay,
is
yeah, it probably is. This
Well, do you want
perfume
to
is.
Yeah. I didn't know they came in other sizes.
They're rare though. They're very rare.
I think this is the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
There was the 60 mil, 120 mil, and there was a larger size too. But those are very rare. Like they were made for
Yeah.
specific
And I
reasons.
must admit I had to get it because the bottle is sort of an objet d'art in itself.
Yeah.
So but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, this wasn't produced even that long ago and it still retains its beauty. So and I know how you feel about vintages. You're very cautious about vintages. It's a road of heartache and disappointment, and spending lots of money until you find one that's in good condition. Um, but these ones are the more recent formulations have been beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Not entirely, not terribly different from older versions,
No,
contrary to what
I
many people
agree.
would say. And there is that fetishism, like the vintage formulations are inherently better. But I can't imagine there are that many people who have vintage versions of Vol de Nuit, which were spared from the ravages of time. So I just take what a lot of people say with a grain of salt when it comes to that. I saw a very. I suppose it's better to keep yourself on mute when you're doing that, unless people enjoy when you're not on mute.
That's too
um,
funny.
it is funny. Yeah, it's a beautiful bottle. Yeah, and yeah, it's a 30 mil. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nick, I'm pretty certain it is the 30 mil. And I have also Shamad. Shamad would be a nice one to
Oh
shoot
yes.
for
I think
this.
any of these perfumes, Voldenis is one of those. I like describing it as there's something about Voldenui and Mitsuko that to me it's like they're more than perfumes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's a bottled like what is a good way of putting it? It's like the bottled worlds in a way. Because
Yes,
every time I smell Voldenui, especially the parfum, it's just like, oh my god, where is this place? Like
it's
it
almost like
feels
a
like
portal, a portal
yes,
to some other dimension,
a
and you're
100%.
experiencing it completely through scent, and
Yes,
it's illustrated through that scent. Yeah, for
it's
sure.
so special, so special.
Um, yeah, and so I think those are the two perfect choices for nuanced scents from Guerlain. There is one that I you shared in your appreciation for, and am still storing it in the box here.
Oh yeah, this Absolute.
Absolute, which to me does fall firmly into this category as well.
It
And,
does.
and unfortunately, it has eluded people as a result because once again, I think that people have this expectation for something to deliver,
Yeah.
to have many returns on their investment, I guess. But that
But
would
that, yeah.
a louder version of this wouldn't even make sense. Like it would lose.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's because it's a glass cap. It's going to
Yeah.
make that. Yeah, Antoine Lee, he's really good
Oh yeah.
at restraint in his compositions. And I mentioned in my review that this is actually what I had hoped that Les Abstraits, what is it called?
Pas de l'air exquise.
No, not La de l'Exquise. The Iris one.
Descendre? No.
No, no, you're 2 out of 3. It's the third one. Bellam, Bellam,
Belle âme. Yes.
Bellam, which I think is nice, but it fell a bit short of my expectations for what the concept was,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt a little too sweet and almost that cocoa feel of Iris, which I can appreciate, but it almost gets a little too lost in that. But this it is so satisfying because of his usage of orange blossom in this unique
Gorgeous.
way, in the way that the iris interacts with the orange blossom.
And it's beautiful because the iris, it's just there. It's just floating around. It's not like when I first wore it, when I first tried it and wore it, I didn't really get much of the iris.
Yes.
Um, I actually first time I got the iris was when I did the whole video, which I talked about that one and I sprayed that one.
Mm.
That's when I got the iris because it's so subtle and it's so beautifully balanced with the orange blossom that I just like, oh my god, it's a stunning perfume. I really love that
Mm.
one.
Mm-hmm. This is experiential as well. That same sort of like this is some sort of portal as well. And each time I wear it, it's sort of like I get a little bit more of the picture every time I wear it. Um, Very beautiful, very beautiful, and once again cedar. There's the cedar in this as well, and I like how the cedar's almost front. It's in the front. It's very much in the beginning, and
Mhm.
then it's sort of it recedes towards. Usually it's the other way around, and I think that's
Yes.
fascinating how he was able to put that cedar front and center in the beginning, and then it sort of blends in later on and kind of fades into the picture as a whole. But yeah, I think this is a nice house. I like a lot of this is my favorite one though. This is the one where I was like, that's it. Gonna get a bottle.
I really
Gonna
like their perfumes too. Like their candles are my favorite. I absolutely love
oh
their candles.
the candles are wonderful.
But the perfumes, there are six that I really like. Um, I love Bruma, that one. It's one of my
Mm,
favorite irises.
that's very nice
Um,
too. I almost went for that one, but like I said, I'm not gonna overdo
I already
it.
finished a bottle of Bruma.
Go you.
I already emptied the bottle. Actually, there was about 10 milliliter left in it in my bottle. But so, and I took that one with me to this last trip. So my friends fell in love with it. The friends that were hosting us.
Mm.
So there was just 10 mil left. So I left it there for them, and because I already had a backup of it.
Right, right.
waiting for me here home, and I ended up getting another one because so I have a backup of that one already too, and also of Afeli. Afeli is it's another one that I feel like it gives me the same vibe of what you just mentioned from Absolute. Yeah, it feels
Yes.
like a Porto-ish, and it was also done by Antoine Lee.
Right, right. Great
Beautiful.
perfumer. Great perfumer. Great house too. Just for the, I mean, the candles and the parfums. They started as with candles. They
Yes.
eventually branched out into the parfums for personal wear. Paprika Brazil is a great iris too. Yeah, that's an interesting usage of iris. As a matter of fact, I do have two Hermesons nearby. I don't know if you had any with you.
No, I didn't. I was tempted to bring Hermes, but I already had four Hermes, so I said I can't do anymore.
Yes, I know three out of the ones that I set aside are Hermes, Santal Masoya,
Oh,
which
mm.
the disappointment that people have for this just because I don't get it because
It's what gives me
actually
joy.
I don't understand it. It's not even like the quietest of the quietest fragrances that I have. It
Yeah.
lingers on my skin for a very long time. It
Hmm.
is just a skin scent.
Yes,
So
it's the same experience that I have.
and the soya bark. I mean, what a way of being able to reproduce a Masoya bark accord without really using Masoya, because Masoya is heavily restricted, if not banned at this point, because
Hmm.
it could be a very um, serious irritant to the skin. I'll tell you a story at sometime when doing my perfume experimentation about how I gave myself a rash for a week for putting too much Masoya bark oil into an experiment. So it's not really used in perfumery, but he's able to recapture it. So for those who are not familiar with Masoya bark is this nutty, almost coconutty, but not with. It's almost like you take part of what makes coconut what it is, and leave the rest of it behind. Like it's like the nuttier, woodier aspect of coconut, not like the sweet, milky meat part. But you can still recognize it as sort of a little coconutty, and it's very subtle in this. Um, and I just think it's a beautiful representation of sandalwood with that Masoya accord. Um, and it is quiet, but it's not, you know,
It's there.
it's there. It's there. You just got to lean in. Do you have somebody who can lean in and have a very private conversation with? Oh, and then you can pick it up.
They're inviting. They're that type of perfume that they have the power to pull you closer. They will pull whoever that
Right.
you're talking to. Like, is that you? Like, what is this that I'm smelling? And then, like, it's very
Yeah,
intriguing because it's
because it's this sillage, but it's not a powerful sillage. And exactly, it's sort of like, what is that? Somebody smells good.
yeah.
But rather than, your perfume smells good or your fragrance smells good, it's giving the impression that the person smells good.
Yes.
And rather than, I'm wearing a big fat perfume right now. Everybody look at me and smell me. Dahlia, the rash was all along my neck because I tried it on myself. It was
Wow.
all red and burned, and it was awful. And I learned to be very careful about fragrant materials after that. It was a really unfortunate learning experience. Um, and it was only supposed to be used, Masoya bark oil, at about 0.1%, I think, in a composition. But because I was being foolish and throwing caution to the wind, not paying attention to the restrictions, I thought, well, this smells fabulous. I'm going to put 5% of it in my composition.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord.
And that, my friends, is the reason why oak moss is restricted as well, because oak moss can be a skin irritant when it is very high in percentage. And it isn't banned. I always have to tell people there's still people who think it's banned. It's just heavily restricted. And sure, Makes it a little bit more difficult to build oak moss accords, but it is possible. It just needs a bigger budget. And
Yeah.
who has big budgets for perfume besides artisan perfumers and small brands? So, and besides mainstream perfume, oak moss, it's not really happening much, anyways.
Yeah.
This is Bleue de Réglisse. So
Yeah.
Bleue de Réglisse is here I go with my accent. Is it's a lavender via licorice root, and more licorice than anise. I think people think that licorice and anise are synonymous, and they're not. Licorice is a bit anisic, but it isn't anise. Anise is reminiscent of licorice, but it's not licorice. There's some overlap, but the two are different. There is a certain bitter, rooty woodiness to licorice that you don't find in aniseed. But both have a bit of anethol, which is the chemical compound, which gives that characteristic. And this is a beautiful one, and it is quiet and intimate and beautifully aromatic. It just gives you this sheer cocoon when you wear it. And isn't this one discontinued as well?
No, I think it was Épice Marine that was discontinued.
Oh, so it's Muguet Porcelain is paprika. Wait, was it Paprika Brazil as well?
Yeah.
And then it was
Galante.
yeah. That's a shame. Well, at least this
I
one's
managed.
still.
I managed to get because I love Paprika Brazil.
Ooh,
It
Dahlia
was
says
one.
Buena's gone.
Huh. Actually, I have the Hermes website open right here. Let me. I hope this screen. I hope this screen doesn't
You're gonna do
go
a
away
fact. You're gonna do a fact check.
because it's right here.
See if it's still in production.
Because I talked to a friend about it. It's a Brand Réglisse that was discontinued. Épice Marine is still available, so I got them mixed.
Okay.
Thank you, Dahlia. Yeah.
Thank you. Bilbo says, Jensen's frag gave me a rash, not because I sprayed it, but.
Oh my god.
All right, Bilbo, behave. Behave. We have some rascals in the chat. Duncan says, love me some licorice. Yes. I was the kid who had the licorice or anise flavored candies when none of the other kids would want them. Like black jelly beans. I would have all of them. Oh, this is gross. You have it. And I just loved it. So naturally I love it in perfume. So I like Épice Marine. I like it, but it's an acquired taste. You have every right to think it's terrible because it's a challenging one.
I don't have that one. That one it never worked on me. I tried.
It's a tough one. I have
it's
an
very
affinity.
salty, I think.
Yeah. It's salty, but also very sweaty and salty. And I don't know. Once again, I don't know what that says about me. I like sweaty and salty. Don't quote me on that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna say anything else.
No. We have a backstage conversation. If you have any questions about that, we're not gonna talk about that during the live stream. Anyways, moving right along. Are you familiar with any of the Annick Goutal, the ones that Isabelle Doyen composed for Annick Goutal?
I don't know which ones she did. I have a few. Not that many, but I really like some of their compositions, some of the perfumes.
There is this very nice one. It is called Duel, and this is an older bottle. I love the way that the older bottles look. I don't like how they updated the brand, but what else is new? Brands often update to keep themselves relevant and to attract younger clientele who want something a little bit more modern looking. This is very much like a very late 70s, 80s looking kind of style here, but I really just I just have an attachment to it because this is what they looked like when I first discovered the brand many years ago. And this actually is Isabelle Doyen. and Camille Goutal. And
Goutal.
this is a lovely tea scent, and particularly like mate
Mm-hmm.
with petit grain in the top notes,
Oh, this sounds interesting.
and mugwort or artemisia. So you have that kind of mugwort is somewhat similar to wormwood. It is a bit like pine-like and sort of like mint without the menthol, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful woody and musky dry down guaiac wood in the base. And it is not loud by any means. It is an intimate scent. Um, it just feels sort of like this enhancement of your skin, as if your skin was able to give off this beautiful aroma rather than like you're wearing a fragrance. Same sort of idea. Yeah. And I think Isabel Doyen is really good at creating those kinds of um, complements for the skin. Another one, Mandragore Pouple. The This is sort of a flanker of the original Mandragore, and Mandragore Pouple. It's hard for me to say poop without sounding like I'm saying poop. Poop, Mandragore Pouple. Um, this one, for those who are interested in things that have anise, they like anise or licorice. This is an anisic scent. This also has mint in it as well. But Isabelle Doyen really knows her way around using mint in fragrance without it feeling as though it is a functional or bathroom toothpaste mouthwash kind of mint. It smells much more like, at worst, it smells like a very high quality mint gum rather than a toothpaste. At best, it's sort of like crushing actual mint leaves.
Mm-hmm.
But the anise and the mint is here. It's peppery, it's herbaceous, and it's a bit incensey and balsamic in the base, a little bit of heliotrope as well. And it is intimate, it is gentle, and it's like that sort of sheer cocoon, like I was saying. Mandragore poop. That is
I I've been trying Sable
sable.
from Anicutal, and because it's one of those that it's quite bitter, and that's something that I find fascinating about the perfume. But I still have to wear the samples that I have before
Mm.
deciding to if I'm
Mm.
going to get a bottle or not. But from Goutal, I don't have. I think I have 5 bottles in total. I think I have Nuit Étoilée, which is a gorgeous
I
piney
almost set that aside.
perfume. It's
That was
beautiful,
beautiful
beautiful.
too. Yeah.
I think it's my favorite pine perfume. I think.
And that's pine by way of mint as well. And it's that same beautiful mint accord in it as well, that
Yes.
weaves in and out of the pine, and it's like pine needles rather than sort of that generic. I think sometimes people are afraid of pine and fragrance, and they think that it's going to be a cleaning product, or you know pine, this sap coming from a pine tree. But it's that subtlety that Isabelle Doyen can impart in her work. That is why I just love what she does.
So she did that
Um,
one too.
she did. I do.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I think I can double check right here. I mean, it definitely feels like her style.
It's one of those perfumes that you can overspray as much as you want,
Yes, and
and
it's
it is just.
and it's
Mm.
wonderful in a warmer weather, or you could wear it in any kind of temperature, any kind of weather actually. But yeah, Isabelle Doyen with Camille Goutal, and that was released not that long ago, 2012, and that's fixed with like Immortelle in the
A
base.
little
So
bit, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I
And
think I have Passion,
mm-hmm. Now,
and I
Passion, is that the Gardenia or the
I
Tuberose?
think Studios, yeah,
Tuberose. Okay,
yeah.
all right.
And then I have two that I still actually seal. I haven't opened them. because they're in that really big box, and the
Mm.
bottles are round.
Mm-hmm.
They're like little balls, and the stoppers are, one of them I think is a butterfly, and the other one is a moon. So one of them is Nuit d'Adrien, and the other one I think is oh god, Songe.
Songe. I
Yeah,
think no. Wait, Songe is Songe the gardenia? Wait, which one is the gardenia? Like I know this is the gardenia, and I forget the
Songe.
name.
I'm pretty sure it's tuberose too, but I'm
Okay.
pretty sure Passion has a lot of tuberose too, because it's very, very, very tuberose forward. Um, Maybe both, but they worked different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know actually. It could be. I actually don't know.
Ennui Noir. It's that Filippo Sorcinelli, right? Ennui Noir. I think it is. His
I
Labs.
don't know that one.
No, wait, is it Unum that line? He has different. It's an Italian perfumer. He has multiple lines, multiple fragrances. I have an incense fragrance called Unum, and uh, and it's from his Lavs line, LAVS.
Yeah.
Um, what do you have to share with us next? I don't want to take over and just share everything that I have.
I'm trying to open my bottle, but I tend to close them very tightly, and then I, rubber gloves tend to do the trick, or anything rubbery. But I don't have anything rubbery around me right now, so yeah. So I have Bois de Violette from Serge Lutens.
Ah.
I really, really like this one. It's a very subtle perfume too, and also on the dabber, and it's just so beautiful. I wish I could open it now, but later.
Oh,
I think I will be spraying the next one on myself because this is my second bottle of it as well. I absolutely love this perfume.
have you
Um,
tried twisting the stopper, or is it kind of
oh yeah, give me a second. I'm just gonna get a
yeah?
glove here.
It is Bois de Violette. Oh, lucky you! You were given a bottle. Very nice.
Gloves do tend to do the trick. See?
There. Do you know what I do? I just because I don't wear them as often as I'd like, I end up just using a dropper because I don't want to get like my skin's oils in it. That's how obsessive compulsive I am. Like, oh, my skin's oils are gonna get in it, and then it's going to. Yeah, it's beautiful, right?
It does happen a lot. Because actually, this it happened a lot with Shalimar.
Yes.
Actually, there's still some sediments here, but I guess it's for my skin. I don't know because these are refills. Because I already finished this, and
Mm-hmm.
then I refilled it, and same with Eau de Nuit. I already finished. This is actually the third time that I refilled the bottle of Eau de Nuit because I've yeah, because I bought a bit of it as backup. It's yeah, and this is actually one that I haven't really worn. I wore a lot more when I bought it years ago, and it's a very special perfume to me because I have a friend. Um, he was living in Paris, and we went to Serge Lutens together, and we did a few things together. And then when I was here back in Canada, he asked me like Serge Lutens was doing something, and he asked me if I wanted him to buy if I wanted to buy anything and for him to buy anything for me and then have it shipped to Canada because these bottles were not available in Canada and they still like some of them are, but
Mm.
it's a very limited selection of options that we have at Hope Brentford. So I said, I wanted to get me a perfume that you think of me when you smell it, or a perfume that you think smells like me. So, and then he chose Bois de Violette, and he said, like, to me, this is you. So, yeah, and it's a very special perfume.
Mm.
And it's like, I actually have a really hard time describing it because it's a very, very, very good balance of wood and violet. And it's a, but violet in here, it's not makeup-y. It's not,
No, it's more like not that it's green, but it's more botanic.
dusty. Has it like
Yeah,
like dried leaves kind of,
right,
not
right.
dusty makeup, but dusty as like super dry leaves and then just crumbling
Yes.
dry.
Hello, Deluxe Lex. Thank you for joining the stream. Folks, we still haven't reached 30
Yes.
likes. We're at 28, so we need two more. I was hoping we could aim for 40 by the end of our live stream, which will be at the top of the next hour. We'll sort of wrap up things at around that time. But we are at 28 likes. The likes help people find this channel, find this content, these live streams. We just got 29. We could get some more there. If you haven't already liked the live stream, please do so. And yeah,
But
that's another great choice.
the one that I was actually going to talk about, that I
Oh,
said it's my
that's
second bottle, is this
yes.
one.
Ah, okay. Let's do a zoom in real close up, and this is the Lubin.
Yes, Black Jade. Um, I absolutely love this perfume. This is also another one that I will always have in my collection, just because it's just really how it makes me feel, and it's just gorgeous, gorgeous. So this is my second bottle. I had one that was the first one was 50 ml, and it didn't last long, so I just had to get another one. This is 100. And Lubin is a brand that it's very underrated, extremely underrated. But there's a reason why, I believe. There are a few reasons why. It's it's, oh god, it's gorgeous. It's this beautiful bouquet of fully blossomed flowers with, I'm sorry, I hope it's not too noisy. Sorry if it
It
is.
feels like we're just there with you. We can feel the activity around you. It's
Oh
fine.
god, I'm sorry. It's just my
Don't
husband's getting
worry.
ready for work.
It's okay.
And yes, and it's just because it has this hints of spices over it too. Because now only recently I started getting the cinnamon in it, because I didn't get it for the longest time. I believe when I talked about it on YouTube, I didn't. I said that I don't really get the cinnamon, but now I'm starting to get the cinnamon, and because I've purchased a couple perfumes that were more cinnamon forward recently, so I guess now I'm kind of getting more. Yeah. And one of them is L'eau from Diptyque. That one is a cinnamon beast.
Ah, yes, I love that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lo. And then you have also Olent, which is cinnamon and a popinax. And that's gorgeous too.
Olente to me, it smells. It reminds me a lot of one from Creed, actually.
Ooh.
That's the only reason why I didn't buy Olente,
Oh,
because
which one?
it's Angélique Ensemble.
Ah, okay, okay.
It's very similar to
Right.
every time I've worn my samples of Hollande. Halfway through, I just like, I know something that smells like this. I have something that smells like this.
Hmm.
And then I was like, oh, it's Angélique Ensemble. And
Thank
then
you
there
for
was like,
reminding me of the correct pronunciation as well. Olent. I was saying Olent, maybe because it's Lent. I don't know why it's.
it's I used to say Olent until 2 weeks ago.
Okay. I've actually taken French and I forgot the pronunciation. I took French for a couple of years in high school, and um, I do want to try to speak it fluently again. I was thinking of Rosetta Stone, and maybe some of it will come back. Um, but mostly it's just the vocabulary and some of the pronunciation that remains. And I can't string a sentence together. That a lot of that is lost.
Yeah, I don't speak French either. It's I really really want. I can read a lot. I understand a lot.
Okay.
I can engage in conversations here and there, but I'm not confident in and to carry on.
I think
No,
she
it
was
wasn't a
referring
box
to
of
earlier.
perfume. No, my husband was preparing his food for. He just left for work. He's working tonight, so he was preparing his food, and it was like, oh, when
And
he dropped a knife. So that's what came
ah,
out.
so Luban, that is a house with a lot of history. It had been around for a long time, and then
Yes.
it shuttered, and then it was resurrected.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my question, and I haven't actually tried the Black Jade. Is that a resurrected? Was that an old release that they reimagined, or is that because some of them are, yeah, like
Yes.
El de Luban, and I
The
wasn't
whole
sure if
collection, the whole collection, the I forgot how it's called, but it's a classic collection for women. So
yeah,
there's the Black Jade, Œil de Luban, Epidore, um,
there's Gin Fizz, which was a
Gin
classic
Fizz.
in the 50s, and then
Yes,
that was discontinued in the mid 80s when Luban folded.
yeah.
um and then that was, so
Black
there's all.
Jade's Black Jade's supposed to be the perfume that was created for Marie Antoinette by the master perfumer that Lubin was trained under.
Hmm.
So, and then he found this book that had the recipe of black jade, and it was called black jade because it was kept in a black jade bottle. But I don't know, and if any of that it's true, it could be. I don't know, but so it's supposed to be the recreation of that perfume that was for Marie Antoinette,
Hmm.
and it's very fitting, because the black jade and Aphélie are two perfumes that to me smell like Versailles, the castle of Versailles,
Oh,
especially the
really?
grounds of Versailles. This, and I'm not, every time I spray this perfume, it's like I go back to the gardens of Versailles, and especially in Aphélie as well. Those two perfumes, to me, they are the, yeah, the smell of Versailles, which is very interesting.
That is. Silver Moon says that Glisette is the one I would like to have.
It's gorgeous too. I really love that one.
Glisette. I'm looking up that one. I'm a bit ignorant to a lot of the Lubin. I know of a few of the older ones from my vintage research, but I still am unfamiliar with many more. So it looks like Lisette is sort of a rose, a musky, ambery rose. That's
Yes, that's
familiar.
exactly what it is. Yeah.
Ooh, that does
And
sound
the thing
nice.
about Lubin too is it's a brand, it's a house that the quality of the perfumes is extraordinary. The quality of the ingredients is top notch. Um, and for the price that they sell the perfumes, it's a bargain, And in today's world, it is a bargain considering what all other brands are asking for the perfumes these days. So the simple fact that they're still able to create fantastic perfumes like these with the quality that they are and charge the price that they do, it's the representation that yes, perfumes can still be made. Great perfumes can still
Mm,
be made at reasonable prices.
right.
And because I have a friend that he works in the perfume industry. He's actually quite someone quite big in the back in the backstage, and yeah, he knows all these people from IFRA and everything else. And
Mm.
I asked him like, what do you think of Luban? And he said that it's a great house and they use some of the best irises
Mm.
that money can buy. And I was like, wow, it's something not many people know about it.
Maybe I should explore a little bit more. I don't know why I haven't done enough of exploring
Oh,
of
send me your
Luban.
address. I will send you the can. I have the entire collection. I have
Oh,
I have
yeah,
all of them.
I'd love to sample first. Sample before you buy. No, no blind buying. I
Yeah,
promise myself of that.
yeah, I can definitely send you samples of all of them.
I have a Lodiver, Jean-Claude Elena Lodiver, which is perfect for our theme. And are you familiar with Lodiver?
I had a sample of it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I
So
might still have. I don't know.
Lodiver is, it feels frosty. It feels like I'm trying to think of the right kind of descriptor for it, but it's not cold, but yet it still feels frosty. It feels like thawing as well because it reminds me of probably of this time of the year, like late winter rather, um, where spring is around the corner and you're starting to find snowdrops. And
Yeah. I don't know if you can see, but we had snow all day yesterday.
oh, really? Let me take a.
It was warming up, and then suddenly we got hit with minus 25.
Oh, wow. So minus
Yeah,
25 would be. That is for us. That would
minus
be
20 something too.
yeah. So that would be. I know that your zero would be our 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's pretty cold. Probably 18 degrees in Fahrenheit. Sebastian, you're in Alberta, right?
Yeah, northern
Okay.
Alberta.
Or northern Alberta. Not only Alberta, but northern Alberta, which is very different from southern Alberta.
Above us is this Arctic Circle, pretty much.
You're way up there. Wow.
Yeah, a few. Um, oh God, I forgot. Just a couple, like maybe 3 or 4 reserves, and then the Arctic Circle.
My, wait,
Oh yeah.
wow. You don't have to tell me the exact location. Not that anybody's going to track you down in northern Alberta. I'd love to visit northern Alberta myself. I've always been fascinated with the prairie provinces.
And you should
There's,
come, especially to see the Northern Lights too. This past winter we had a lot of them.
oh, I'm sure they're beautiful there.
Oh yeah. And we
Wow,
just like open our door, like the backyard, and then like look up and like, oh, they're out tonight.
that would be very, very nice. Northern Lights. I would. This would be a nice thing to wear with the Northern Lights. Actually, L'Eau d'hiver. This has a hawthorn accord. Now, a lot of people are not familiar with hawthorn, even though they might have smelled hawthorn blossoms in the springtime, and they're anisic and sort of like they have the same texture of mimosa without smelling like mimosa. There's a bit of a pungency to it that is overwhelming up close,
Mhm.
but when you're just around the tree, sometimes flowers are just better appreciated from, a certain distance, and
Mhm.
these blossoms are appreciated in the air. Um, and there's a lot of that here: hawthorn, heliotrope, um, violet, and iris, all of the favorites. Some lily of the valley. It's very musky. There's an angelica in the dry down, so a musky angelica root. Um, but like I said, it feels like ice is still on the ground, but it's thawing and the temperatures are just starting to warm. And it reminds me of the anticipation of spring. So
I need that. I need that.
The
It's been
anticipate.
we had a very cold winter this year.
Yeah. We had a pretty cold winter here in New England too. We had several days. Um, God, in Fahrenheit, high teens, 20s, very cold. Um, gonna have you share one, and then there's probably two I'm gonna share at the same time because they're in sort of like a similar category. Not redundant, but they go, in discussing them, they go well together. But what do you have for us?
I'm gonna go with 24th of Blue.
Oh, nice. We're gonna have you chat about that.
No, another second bottle.
Eh.
Oh God, this is.
Oh, Dahlia doesn't know what the topic is. So the topic which we announced at the beginning of the live stream are subtle, nuanced, quiet fragrances. That's the theme that we've had.
This, like 24th of Book, I wouldn't say goes too much in the quiet. It doesn't go in the too much in the quiet category. Um, but that, yeah, if depends where how you wear it. It can be quiet because I when I wear this, depending on where I'm going, if it's outdoors, then I do spray more. But if it's oh, it's a gorgeous perfume. But if I'm going somewhere indoors with lots of people, I tend to just put one spray around the chest area under the shirt because this one, yeah, it can be a little bit too much if oversprayed. But it has the quality of a quiet, nuanced perfume because there's so much going on here, and it's a classic from Hermes. Um, yeah, if it's sprayed in the right amount, it's soft and it's gentle and it's still very warm and embracing and comforting, yet so elegant, so elegant. Wow.
I think that
And the,
elegant is an appropriate adjective for it. It does have sort of this. I don't know if I want to say regal because that has its connotations, but it just feels dignified. It's like a dignified kind of elegance, which is which is fascinating that that would come out in the 90s
yeah,
when it was just you didn't have too much of that going on.
it
But
was already dying. That trend was already dying,
right, right.
and it came. And then Kalesh, Soie de Parfum. I love Kalesh too.
Yes.
This is I have the Parfum too of it, and it's not that different from the Soie de Parfum. It is quite different than the Eau de Toilette. But I don't have the Eau de Toilette. I only have the Soie de Parfum and Parfum. Um, this is more, it's quieter. It's a lot quieter than the 24 Faubourg, but because it has that soapy quality thing. And it's clean, but yet it's very floral and warm and beautiful. Mm, I love it. I love it too.
So Duncan asked if Hawthorne is similar to Costas. No, no. Hawthorne is very much like a spring floral with a certain pungency to it that gives fragrances a je ne sais quoi. Like they often work really well with leather scents, and also they play well with the group of other wonderful flowers that I mentioned in L'Eau d'Hiver. Hawthorn is great with violet and iris and carnation and those sorts of florals. There isn't really that kind of sebaceous skin-like quality to it, though. I wouldn't say that because Costus is this root, um, and that gives off much more of like sort of like a scalp smell, like the smell of like a baby's head. The smell. Sometimes it smells a little bit like the fur of a cat or a dog. I love costus and fragrance too when it's done in a subtle way. It's another favorite of mine in my top 10. Hawthorne and Costas are in my top 10 actually. Much more obscure accords for fragrance, but and yeah, Dahlia, you shouldn't feel bad at all because those fit perfectly for sure. Joe Malone, there's
Yeah.
some Joe Malones that are wonderfully nuanced. People complain about them, but I there's some that I just think that are just like wonderfully rendered, um, sim- simplified creations where just a couple of chords or three chords in the fragrance um, are just given room to just be rather than be a complex perfume. So I can appreciate a lot of Joe Malone as well. I love red roses. That's one of my favorite rose scents. Red roses
It's
from
it's
Joe
it's
Malone.
really really red, like
Yeah,
really really red roses. It's a
yeah, and
beautiful
the, and the
perfume.
the beeswax dry down. It's a little animalic, but just enough to kind of give you that little bit of intrigue. Um, Poivre, Poivre Semacan is my favorite from Hermescence. Peppery without being heavy. Yes, a lot of Izui Super, but Izui, the very great usage of it because Izui Super is just perfect for giving that impression of pepper long after the natural pepper would be gone. It just
Yeah.
still kind of lingers. Yeah. Chris L says, since we're talking about subtlety and you've mentioned Goutal's Duel, what do you recommend as a tea scent? There's a few tea scents that I would recommend. Um, Unfortunately, some of them have been discontinued, and I hate recommending ones that are discontinued because I'm just encouraging people to seek out something that they might have to spend a lot of money on. Um, oh goodness, I'm
What
drawing a
type of
blank.
tea? What type of tea though? Are we
That's
talking
true
about a
because
heavier type of tea or a light type of tea?
right, or is it green tea or black tea or a mate tea? Yeah, that would help me kind of narrow it down too.
If you're talking about mate, there's one that I love that has a lot of mate in the opening, a lot of it. It's the 13 from Cartier, La 13e heure. It has an overdose of mate in the opening,
Yes, that's a
and it's
good one.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
And Neroli ou Noir from Guerlain is another one that I think it's gorgeous. It's funny because it's not funny, but it's like the name of it, Neroli ou Noir. So ultra dark, kind of like neroli. It's because of the tea. So there's a lot of black tea in that perfume. The Merchant of Venice has a really beautiful um, tea perfume too. It's called Blue Tea. Um, it's really, really, really good, and it smells very much like blue tea. I love that one, and the bottle is gorgeous too.
And I would recommend I don't know if they're still producing it. I'm a fan of Tea for Two from
L'artisan.
L'Artisan Parfumier. I think that there's a great tea accord in 5 o'clock au gingembre. So I'm thinking more of like black tea. Um, I would agree with Dahlia. Like
Yes,
Haute Noir is beautiful.
yes, that
That's
whole
an oud.
line.
That's an oud I can appreciate because it's not a very oudy oud. Oudi oudi oud. It's not a very heavy oud, but it's mostly that what oud accord is there. It assists in the black tea effect. Russian tea from Mask Milano. I find that one to be really nice.
Lost Alice too has a
Yes,
tea
yeah,
thing going on too.
right, right. That's another nice one. There's a few of them. Yeah, I'm more partial to black tea than green tea, but I can appreciate green tea and fragrance as well. Um, so yeah, hopefully we were of help in exploring
Joe
tea scents.
Malone had a beautiful collection of tea perfumes with a longer, and the bottles looked different too. They were like slimmer and taller, and it was beautiful. Like they were a lot more expensive than the, yeah. Uh, I think that was not. I'm not sure if that was part of that collection or not. But this collection that they had, I think, were 4 or 5 perfumes, and I only have one of them. Like they had like a silver needle tea, and some other things. They were actually infused with the tea,
Mm,
so
mm.
they actually used real tea for the perfumes. But it wasn't. I don't think it did that well, um, because they were very light, and but very authentic.
And
But the
there is
idea,
a brand called One Day that was launched not too long ago, One Day, and they have a few really good tea scents. I only have samples. Um, the one that I recall is the jasmine tea. So if you
mm,
appreciate like a green pearl jasmine tea, that might be of interest to you, which is a jasmine sambac, which is different from a jasmine grandiflorum, where it is that it is a bit more of a unisex jasmine, if that matters to anyone. Um, but you will immediately recognize if you were to smell jasmine sambac, the excuse me, the solvent extracted absolute. You'll be like, wow, this smells just like the jasmine in jasmine green tea, because that is the type of jasmine flower that is used. That's a classic, the Elizabeth Arden green tea. Yeah, that's still kicking around. I wonder if it still smells good. I haven't smelled it in ages. So the next one I want to share, or actually two, because I'm going to talk about them together. This is from Arisa Legrand, and it is called Relic d'Amour. And this is the box that it used to come in. They've decided to be more environmentally conscious, which I admire, but it's sad that this presentation, this beautiful presentation, is no longer. It's like a smaller box. It's half the size, but and I'll take it out because I leave them in the coffret because I'm not touching them all the time, so I want them to be preserved. It's
beautiful
just me.
box.
Just me.
I got Pot d'Espagne recently, and it came in that box that you're mentioning, the new one.
Yeah. Did it come in like the smaller kind of yeah, the newer production. I'll zoom in so people can see the cover of it here. I'll try to get it out of the light so there,
Oh, it's beautiful.
isn't that? Right. And then we have it resting in here with its tassel. There it is. Relique d'Amour from Aritz Legrand. People who are familiar with me know that I'm a big fan of Arisa Legrand. It was originally a house that was in existence in the early to mid 20th century. Many of their fragrances are were resurrected but reimagined for a little bit more mostly because there's a lot of things you can't do with perfume today that you could back then. Of course, changes in the availability of materials, restrictions, but the reproductions, so many of them are just outstanding. This one, a Relique d'Amour, this to me is transcendental. So the imagery that I get, it's the courtyard that I envision. It's damp, the sky is overcast. There's like these stone walls and they're mossy. They're covered with this early morning rain. Um, there are these, you have pines and spruce trees. Um, and there's this sort of cold, um, I don't want to say musty. The only word I can describe is dank, because it feels like old stone, wooden structure. And it almost like this, place that has musty wood, and there's like there's a lily in this too, and it's a beautiful ghostly white lily scent. And there's this incense, but it's not a powerful incense. It's sort of like this thin plume from a distance, like a, like a thurible that's sort of, but you're not in it. You're just sort of like you're it's almost like you're an observer from the outside, and this is happening inside of this structure. Talk about transportive. Like, this is definitely a portal to another, like an imaginary world for sure. um it feels like a, just like the cool damp spring air, and the lilies, and I'm trying to think of how else it's just like sometimes I'm at a loss of words. Like, it's a little mossy, it's a little powdery. It has that coniferous feel, that cool coniferous feel, but it is not, it's not a heavy hitter. It is an intimate experience, but you'd almost forget that it was an intimate experience just because of how captivating it is. So yeah, this is beautiful stuff. Relic d'amour.
I find that a lot of them, I guess maybe perhaps the style of that house, it's extremely unique. Um, and a lot of them, at least the ones I have tried, have that quality of transportative. Like they really take you to like a long gone past kind
Right.
of thing too. Like Peau d'Espagne is a it's it's an incredible perfume, and it's just like, oh my god, it feels like it's a perfume from 1,000 years ago.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That is a great Pot d'Espagne. Um, I would have, if it weren't for the fact that I already have Santa Maria Novella Pot d'Espagne, then they're very similar, but you can't go wrong with either one of them because they're just
Hmm.
both spectacular. So if you have that, you don't need the Santa Maria Novella, and vice versa. So I definitely give you a thumbs up for because it's really well done.
Yeah.
Um, it's so good, yeah. And that's like like those the Spanish leather, heavy on that birch tar, sort of like saddle soap. Just not the kind of modern leather that people associate with perfume at all.
Mm-mm. No, this is like really, really old leather kind of stuff.
Right, right. And another one that gives a similar effect. And before I do, I just want to acknowledge some of the comments. Yes, Dahlia, the Relic d'Amour, and then some. Stone Church, and then some. A very cool concept. Funereal in a way. It kind of gives me a similar kind of sensation as, say, like a De Profundis from Serge Lutens. Yeah, it's lovely stuff. And this is in a similar vein. This is Passage d'Enfer
Hmm.
from La Tissan. And this is another Olivia Jacobetti, which is, she's also a master of nuance.
Yeah.
This has the lily, so the funereal lily. This has the incense. This is a bit, this is more woody and more musky. It is a bit more melancholy, even if you can believe it. This is an older version because I like showing off my older version, L'Artisans. Sorry.
I only
I
have
haven't,
one like that.
yeah. I don't know how this still smells now. I know that they did like an intense version, which seemed kind of strange to me because I think it's called intense. But I thought to myself, like, how do you improve upon this? But this is a beautiful one too. Passage d'un feu from La Tissan. Very, it is like a elegiac. Like these are like if you were gothic in your style, if you were goth, these would be perfect fragrances. Maybe I'm a closet goth. Like I never went into the goth rap, but I've appreciated goth music like Dead Can Dance and Cocteau Twins and God knows what else, 4AD records. Um, but yeah, they're nuanced. They're not powerhouses, but they would just stink if they were powerhouses. They would just, it would all of the beauty would be taken away if it was just in your face, because
Yeah.
it wouldn't be. That's the thing. And I try to explain this to perfume enthusiasts. There are just certain smells that you just cannot, you can't match them with this expectation for it to be a strong, heavy sillage, you know, nostril bursting kind of fragrance, or else it wouldn't smell right. It has to be at a certain volume, because if you turn up the volume, it kind of, think about like music. You turn up the levels and then it starts to distort. It's like the same idea. Like this, it's almost like, you if you look at it like as a sonic metaphor, if you the levels would just go into the red, and then it wouldn't be the same, you know.
It's a very interesting metaphor because I have a friend that he said that vol de nuit to him, the eau de toilette, I mean the parfum, the extrait, it's just like watching a live orchestra. Like you have everything there in front of you playing. The place is gorgeous, perfect acoustic, greatness. But eau de
Mm,
toilette, it's still just as beautiful. It's still the orchestra, but you're listening to it through the radio.
yeah.
And like, I see that.
Formulations, she's giving me a hard time. Formulations mean nothing. Look at my vintage bottle. I know I'm such a hypocrite. No, no, I promise you I don't have that kind of snobbery. There's enough of that snobbery to go around. I know you're just joking, but it's true though. Yeah, you should. You should try to access De Profundis. Um I think it might be back in the bell jar. I don't know. I can't keep up with Serge Lutens and them.
They have in both. They still have in both presentations,
So
which doesn't make sense to me.
both the glacier and the
Yeah,
le cloche, the bell jar.
which doesn't make sense to me. I had the Gratte-Ciel, but
She's just cracking me up. Have either of you tried the Guerlain collection with Eau de Lit,
oh
etc.?
yes, I love it. I have that whole collection. It's beautiful. I love that one, and I also have the eau de lingerie. Eau de lingerie, I love using it actually to go to bed. I spray my sheets and my pillow with eau de lingerie.
Nice. Well, they work perfectly well as like a linen spray as well.
Yes,
Like you can, yeah, totally.
they're really good.
What else do you have for us? You didn't run out yet? We can run
No,
over a little
I
bit.
have one more. I have
Okay.
the Jus d'Hermès
Okay.
Absolute. Um, I don't. I only have this Absolute, the Gardenia, which was discontinued, and the Parfum, the extrait in the tiny little bottle. And I don't know how this is. I think I have a tester of it, a sample of it, of the Eau de Parfum somewhere. But this is also one of those that it's a perfect scent as it is, and even though it has a scent profile that would be more in the a little bit stronger side, but it's not, because it's very sunny, it's very solar, and it's very bright.
Mm.
And when sprayed, it's just like, oh god, this is it's just like, it's such a beautiful, happy, big bouquet with yellow and white florals. It's a happy scent, and I don't wear this enough. I love it. And it's definitely one of those that it has it's 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 crystal clear in a way. Um,
I think she meant the, or she or he. Sorry, I'm. Oh, the eau de lit, right?
yeah, they're very soft. They're very soft, and they're great for that purpose. For sometimes I spray the curtains too in the living room, and it's just good because then you walk by it and then you smell it. The how lines really. And now I think they changed the name of one of them to Eau de Cotton. Cotton. So that one used to be something else. Used to be called something else. Yeah.
We're at 32 likes. I was hoping to get to 40 likes by the end of the stream. Maybe we'll stick around just long enough to get to 40 likes. That means we need 8 more. So if you haven't hit the like button on the stream, please do so. We'll try to aim for 40 before we sign off. We have 22 people who are watching at the moment. Eau de lingerie.
Yes.
Lingerie. An underwear
Is that the
perfume.
one that they changed? It was meant to be for linen too, but he had that name, yes. And that one that's my favorite from that whole linen collection, um, the eau de lingerie, and it's really nice.
Dahlia, is that Eigner explosive? That's a great rose chypre. Very nice. From the 80s, if that's the one you're referring to. This looks like Duncan's asking the same question.
I'd never heard of explosive. Where is it from?
So, released by this house called Eigner, Aigner. It was launched in 1986. I would hazard to say, for those who are familiar with L'Artegucci, that it's just as good, if not better, than L'Artegucci, which was released in the early 90s. It's just this powerful. It would not fit the theme. It's very powerful. The name is appropriate. It's just a very dynamic, rose, mossy power. Like just it's one of those like powerhouse perfumes from the 80s. It's just so good though. Spectacular. Yes, yes. And there was a question from Bilbo Fraggins. What are the panel's thoughts on Les Indomadables? Not many subtle scents there. Um, I think there are a couple that are subtle. There is one with an osmanthus and it has queer in the name, queer or something or another. I have 3 from the house four actually. Rose de Jamal and Ambre Supreme and Oriental Velour and Mustastable. Um, and yeah, I wouldn't say that they are the quietest fragrances, but they're not terribly loud either. I guess they're measured in the way they perform and their presence, but those are the ones that I enjoy. Some of them I was sort of didn't really elicit a very strong response from me, like the Fougere Emeraude, this tuberose Fougere. I don't know. It didn't really do anything for me. I don't really like the vanilla, the vanille
Havan.
Havan. I don't know. I'm picky about vanilla fragrances.
Me too.
It's just there has to be that something else in the vanilla fragrance that pulls it somewhere else and makes it a little bit less vanilla. Because I can appreciate vanilla. I mean, vanilla is another great blender. You know how I was saying like cedar, great blender, vanilla. It's often in places where we don't even realize it is. But when we do realize it is there, I wanted to not be too bossy and it can get that way somebody asked me earlier and forgive me for not responding because I mentioned that I was looking for a fragrance that featured blueberry and they asked if I like gourmands, and I can appreciate gourmands as long as they're not excessively sweet and childish dessert flavor. Like grown-up dessert I like if it were something sort of rich and decadent and dried fruits and something soaked in armagnac or something like. But I don't like things. I'm immediately frightened if I see notes like marshmallow and cotton candy. and caramel and praline and things like
Caramel is one I have problem with too.
I just see those notes and I just it doesn't make me interested. It's like I would smell it to try it, but I if I were to place if I were to bet if I were to place any bet, I wouldn't like it. I just wouldn't. I just have a tough time. But sometimes things like if it were like a chestnut puree, but it was also with vetiver or some something
Mm,
kind of that's something not so edible that is contrasting with the edible. Those are the kinds of gourmandish scents that I can appreciate, but not the full on dessert.
yeah.
Maybe savory gourmands too. Something interesting that reminds me of like salad greens or
Womanity by
vegetables.
Thierry Mugler.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Womanity by Thierry Mugler.
Ah, yeah, yes. That's savory for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Carrot. I like vegetal. I mean that people don't consider that gourmand, but like if there's carrot or if there was like radish or something or root vegetables, green leafy
Beets.
things, beets, things like that are interesting to me. But for desserts, like desserts that would have been popular in French restaurants in maybe the mid 20th century, like not the desserts that are popular today. Nothing that tastes like a brownie sun smells like a brownie sundae. For nothing that's like a
Vanilla cupcake.
birthday cake. There's nothing worse to me than the popular flavor of birthday cake. I see that and I just shudder. I'm like, oh, I don't want to have something that's flavored like birthday cake. I barely like birthday cakes to begin with. When I was a kid growing up, I was very specific about my birthday cake. It had to be chocolate and it had to be an ice cream cake.
My
So
birthday
the
cake. Yeah.
yeah, I don't want those like confetti that the no the white frosting no. What did you have for birthday cakes when you were a kid?
Black Forest.
Oh God, yeah.
My mom would always make Black Forest cake for me for birthday cake.
Nice. Why don't I share one more here and then we'll go to the chat and wrap things up
But
there.
before you go, just
Oh,
finalizing the gourmand
oh,
talk chat.
I'm sorry.
Have you tried the no? Because I'd be like you would say like I think you're gonna like this.
Okay.
Have you tried the three latest releases from Parfum de Nicolai?
No, I was kind of afraid to because of the direction because I saw they were gourmand, but are they good?
I think it was one of them was Pavlova, which has a very pineapple-y, very strong pineapple note. I didn't love it. Um,
Yeah.
there was another one. Can't remember macaron. No, I don't remember what the other one was, but it wasn't bad. But it didn't tickle my fancy either. But Saint Honoré was really good. It had this hazelnutty thing that I ended up getting a bottle of it because it's a gourmand, but it's a darker type of gourmand, and I think you're gonna like that one.
What I heard is um her son has a lot more involvement with the brand and is trying to steer
Steer,
it in a
yeah.
direction where it will appeal to a younger audience, a younger buying a younger consumer. And
Yes.
we know that the younger consumer right now loves gourmands. And when I saw all of those being released, it just seems so uncharacteristic. Just
Very.
it just didn't seem to make sense. But it makes good business sense. And I
Yes.
understand there's money to be made. There's
They're
business
probably they're
sense.
probably doing well, but
Yeah.
I you will probably, if not really enjoy, you probably at least admire Santonere because he has that adult type of
Right.
dessert kind of thing.
And I would imagine in the hands of Patricia and whoever is assisting her, they're probably better quality
Oh yeah.
gourmands that don't rely too heavily on the ethyl maltol excessive sweetness, as so many of these, venture capitalist brands are coming out with, these outlandish bottles that look like chess pieces and stuff like that, who launch,
Literally.
you know, whipped cream and marshmallow, cotton candy delight. There was one that I posted recently, and it was called like brownie bite or so. I don't know what. I was just shocked at, like, you should look it up. The bottle, you would think it would be like this haute parfum brand. It's called Maison Mataha. Oh, it's called Brownie Pop.
Oh my god, is it like the cake pop?
Yeah, Maison Mataha, Mataha. If you look at it, you'll get a kick out of it. And you look at the bottle, and you can tell they're trying to be like this prestige, niche, luxury brand. But then there's this cognitive dissonance that comes from the fact that it has the name Brownie Pop on it.
The cap looks like an artichoke.
Yeah, and I would rather smell something with an artichoke accord than the breakdown, the breakdown is hilarious. The top note,
Oh god. Brown sugar
the top
biscuit
notes are brown sugar, middle notes
popcorn.
biscuit, popcorn, chocolate, and hazelnut, and then the base notes are vanilla and sandalwood. Like, I swear to God, they throw in things like tuberose, jasmine, sandalwood, just so that it seems like it's still a perfume. But I would venture to say, when you smell it, you'd be hard pressed to pick up what little of a sandalwood accord is in this monstrosity of a scent. I can't even. I would love to smell it just to just experience how barbaric it is. I can't imagine it's good. Maybe I'm wrong, but I look at that breakdown and it just sounds so gross.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get to my last one here, because I feel like I would be remiss without mentioning this perfumer, because she is also magnificent at creating these nuanced creations. And it is, is anyone familiar? Maria Candida Gentile. Maria Candida Gentile. This is called Barry Lyndon, and it is named after Barry Lyndon. The movie Barry Lyndon. It was inspired by the Stanley Kubrick, and this is an herbal leather.
Hmm.
It smells like, it doesn't smell like grass that would be on the lawn in a suburban neighborhood, but it has a certain light, translucent green grass, and sort of the hardy vegetation that you would find on the sides of, like, like rocks, like heather. She claims to have a heather accord. I can see that in this. I can smell what she's going for in this, and this beautiful, um just not suede or all suede either, because she doesn't do that kind of stuff, but it smells like a very plush, brushed kind of suede. Like, it kind of reminds me, I used to wear Clark's shoes, like suede wallabies, suede desert treks when I was younger. I was really a big fan of Clark's. And the dry down reminds me of the smell of the brushed suede. And there's just like a little bit of vetiver in there to kind of to carry that grassiness into the dry down. And there's a tea-like quality, even though, it's not, there's no tea accord mentioned, but I get kind of that feel of tea. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I think that it would be worth it for those who are interested in this topic, interested in these nuanced and subtle fragrances to seek out Maria Candida Gentile, but Barry Lyndon was the last one that I wanted to share. Um, Independent perfumer, um, just great stuff. I also appreciate her Hanbury, which is this orange blossom and mimosa. Cinabre, which is this rose and tolu balsam, and Citrus, which is actually another. It's actually based on mountain tea, which is actually mountain tea is also known as Labrador tea, and was popular with the Inuits because it grows in more like subarctic climates. But that's a nice one too. That's called Citrus. This is Barry Lyndon, Maria Candida Gentile. Um, all right, so let's see. How are we doing with the likes? Have we gotten any closer to 40? 35. We could use 5 more. If anybody's still tuning in, we're going to just stick around for a little while longer. We're already past 20 minutes. We have 17 people tuned in. Any of the 17 people who have not yet liked the stream, please do so. We're going to catch up on the chat, and then we're going to kind of wrap things up here, and we'll talk backstage a little bit before we hunker down for the evening. So let's see. JD asks, what's your favorite Giacobetti? Good question. So Olivia Giacobetti. She did a great one for Penhaligon's called Elixir. And that's a beautiful, that could have fit in this theme as well, actually. A woody, rosy, incensey kind of scent, which is beautiful. That's one of my favorites of hers. But she did some great ones for L'Artisan as well. Actually, I just noticed that Jean Saint, Safran Tout Blanc. I think was that one done by Bertrand Ducheffoy? We'll double check that. I think it is Bertrand. That's a very nice one. Oh no! Hey, we're on theme. That's Olivia Giacobetti as well. Yeah. Can't think of any subtle gourmands. Yeah, Safran Tout Blanc is one of the few subtle gourmands, I would say. And there is a bit of sort of like a custardy kind of aspect to it, which is very nice and not excessively sweet. Someone's being a smart aleck. Do y'all know any fragrances with a
the 13th hour from Cartier in the opening has a sausagey-ish
really
because it has a lot of mate and there's a lot of leather in the opening.
Yeah.
So these two notes combined, when my husband first smelled it, he hated it. He said, "This smells like barbecued sausages." Literally, that's what he said. And then I said, "I'm getting it. I love it."
That reminds me of Bois Sicard from Atelier des Ors. It smells like bacon to me. It's just too bacony for me to wear. But it's very smoky, but smoked meat. I can't do it. I can appreciate it, but I can't do it. I have dozens of gourmands, dust collectors, love it first sniff. I'm a sucker. Nobody does ethyl maltol like Vintage Angel. Hey, they put ethyl maltol on the map for fragrance because ethyl maltol was originally not considered a fragrance ingredient. It just wouldn't register to a perfumer until the 90s to put ethyl maltol into a fragrance. And yes, with Angel, the rest is history. And here we are today with things like Brownie Pop. But Angel was I can appreciate Angel though, because it has that patchouli to.
Yes.
God forbid you put patchouli in any kind of the Brownie Pop kind of fragrance today, and people scoff at it because it smells too dirty or earthy for them.
And Angel was a perfume that only recently I started getting it. I hated Angel for the longest time.
Yeah.
Because of it was too much patchouli and too sweet for me for the longest time. I couldn't get my brain to, okay, try to just smell them together. Try not to smell. Try not to just focus on each of these elements of the perfume. And then, yeah, recently I tried the eau de toilette and I was like, God, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I got a bottle of eau de toilette.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, that's where I feel like the teasing with the idea of
Yes.
gourmand through the 90s was a very exciting time. Um, yeah.
And she was right about Comet being a subtle gourmand. And
Yeah, yeah.
yes,
I kind of spaced out and then I moved on because I was going to ask you, do you
that's
appreciate that
absolutely right.
Comet? Is it? I still haven't tried it yet.
I have it. I really like it. I
Mm, mm,
got I got two bottles of it actually. I got a 200 mil and a 75 mil. Um,
mm.
it's it's really really good. It's nothing new or super exciting, but it's what they proposed with it and the end result, the end product. I think it's just really really good, especially for being a Chanel. To me, that's the perfume from Chanel with the most love in it. Because most, to me, the image of Chanel as a whole, as a brand, it's very austere, it's very cold, it's very straight to the point kind of thing, which I appreciate very much. I think it's a good thing to be.
Mm, mm.
But there isn't a lot of sentiment, there isn't a lot of feelings in it. And I never got love or anything close to love from any of their Chanel from any Chanel perfumes until Comet.
Mm. No, I really owe it to myself to try. I actually did open a Chanel cosmetics and fragrance um, boutique in Chestnut Hill, which is an affluent neighborhood in the city of Newton, not far from where I live, and I should check it out there. Uh, there's a few Les Exclusifs that I have not yet sampled. Just curious about them, and definitely do want to try Comet. Um, oh wait, I was going to mention this, Dolly. I know I've tried that one. It is so nasty. I know that one. Oh God, a lot of perfumers have a tough time trying to do chocolate. There are so many that I've smelled that just end up like smelling like Yoo-hoo or Tootsie Rolls or something gross like that. Like not like good chocolate. It's kind of like the same thing with coffee, where in theory it seems like a good idea, but most of the time when coffee really shows up as like a main accord in a fragrance, it's just off-putting. There's some rare exceptions to that. I thought that Cafe Rose from Tom Ford was kind of good. It's interesting the kind of synergy Rose does with so many, so many different accords that they creates a whole new kind of sensation. But when you add Rose to something else, and I thought that was actually pretty good. But coffee in general is a tough note for me, and also chocolate. Yeah. That cacao, like like raw cacao, like a cocoa without the sweetness, can do some interesting things. But that one I remember was, yeah, that was unpleasant. And I think, yeah, she's referring to Angel. Still waiting for someone to give me Comet. Coromandel vibes like Angel to me. And me too, Dahlia, actually. I have not yet sampled La Pausa or Missia. I don't know what either of those smell like.
La Pausa?
Yeah,
And
La Pausa,
Misia?
yeah.
La Pausa, La Pausa. What is it, La Pausa? Is it for the lavender?
The lavender
I
wasn't
think that.
the lavender is, there's two lavenders. There's Boy, and then there is, God, what is the other one? I can't remember the other one, but I
I think
remember
La Pausa
sampling.
is it's a lavender focused, and
So
Boy too, but Boy it's more like a musky lavender. Wow, La Pausa, I believe is La Pausa. It's lavender fields. Um,
I
is it La
just looked.
Pausa?
I just
I
looked
have
up
to
La
check.
Pausa. That it is a powdery woody violet, but I know the one you're talking about, and the name escapes me. Um,
Oh,
why can't I remember it? And I remember doing a review
because
on
I
it
really
too.
want that perfume. That one, the one that I'm thinking of lavender that I'm confusing with La Pausa.
Right. I'm trying to look for it here. Let me see. Why can't I do a search for word on this tab? Oh, Jersey, Jersey.
Jersey,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, 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 yeah,
yes.
yeah. I couldn't find, and then it just popped in my head. Bel Respiro is the. I love green scents. That one I did try. It's nice, but it it just didn't grab me. It didn't knock my socks off. It was not. It's nice. It's quintessentially Chanel. Very well done. But there are other green scents that put a tiger in my tank,
La
and that
Pausa.
one
I'm
just
wondering.
doesn't.
I'm wondering if
That one just doesn't do it for me.
I have a few from. I don't remember if I have La Pausa. I don't remember. Probably don't. But Misia is a very strong violet.
That's like a very cosmetic violet, though, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
extremely cosmetic. Um, that's why it never got me because it's just like makeup powder, like mixed with lipstick kind of thing. It's quite, yeah, it's quite thick that way. It's a very thick perfume.
Yeah. I just a little bit of cosmetic is fine, but if it's thick cosmetic, I don't think I could wholeheartedly wrap myself up in that. Silver Moon says Missia is leathery to me.
Yeah, I
Oh,
guess that's why he adds that thick
yeah.
cosmetic thing to me because I get a lot of violet in that perfume, more
Well,
violet than leather,
it would
and
seem as though that would give the
to me,
experience of having like makeup in a leather bag, perhaps.
yeah.
Well, we know what that means. It's the theme music. So we're because we've run almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Just stick around backstage after I sign off. We'll chat a little bit more before we get
Mhm.
ready for Betty Buys. Thank you very much for joining me in this chat. Appreciate it. This has
This
been
was
fun.
amazing.
Next time, because I'm going to be wrapping up Effluvium live streams on YouTube, the next time we do this, let's make sure to do it on Substack. I'm actually just plugging in my laptop because I realized that the battery's going to go. I don't want it to abruptly end. I want it to end in a professional manner, so I just plugged that in. But folks, I will be back for Effluvium again coming up soon. Just stay tuned for that. We'll get you the details soon. But for now, we're going to sign off. Everybody be well and remain delightfully fragrant. All right, take care now.
It was a pleasure.